On the Gridiron, presented to you by Lone Star Steakhouse and Bud Light, the official beer of the NFL.
Hafene, everybody. We are your KUAM On the Gridiron crew in the house here at Lone Star Steakhouse in Tamuning, as we always are throughout the NFL season. Dave Delgado, Chris Malafunkshun, Barnett. Our show just got a lot more malfunction, and of course, Andy Wheeler. Now, before we get to our results, gentlemen, we do have a bit of results. Chris, you were joining us here because it's a very momentous occasion.
It is.
You actually had a good week as far as your picks went.
I had the best week out of the I-94 DJs. I actually beat Andy.
I think everybody did beat me this week.
You had like 10 wrong,
I had
right?
10 losses
Yeah.
last week.
Mostly everybody got the same games wrong
that's
because
crazy.
it was a crazy week in the NFL.
Chris nailed it, though.
Yeah.
I was totally by accident, but I nailed it.
You got, what, 7 wrong?
Yeah,
6 wrong?
7 wrong, yeah.
Congratulations, my friend. Well done.
I'm trying to be humble about it, but if you guys need any champion advice, holla at me.
There you go. Champion advice from Champion Radio.
Yeah, nice.
All right. Nice little product promotion. Well, speaking of well done, we will get to the football in just a moment. Chris, talk a little bit. You're the guest of honor, so talk about the amazing vittles we have here. Look at that steak.
Wow, you said vittles.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this steak, it's a Machui butter Delmonico. It's an 11-ounce cut. It's on the lunch menu. All right, that's a great piece of meat right there, cooked to perfection. And we have something new on the dessert menu here, banana bread pudding with a big, ginormous scoop of ice cream on top. This goes great, check out Lone Star, man. They got those trail lunches.
I would say that can probably feed an army or you on a weekday. Because you can eat, my friend.
I can, yeah.
Yeah, that's the banana bread pudding on that. I mean, that's a meal in and of itself and
Yeah.
everything. That's the perfect way to finish off a meal when you're watching football, which we encourage you to do. So we go to Dave for our first game. We have got the New York Jets at the Houston Texans, who are coming off a big win over the previously undefeated Bengals.
Yeah, well, the Texans have a lot of things going with that team. Brian Hoyer might not play. He's concussed right now. Arian Foster out for the season. No rushing attack by the Texans. They're 28th in the league rushing, and their quarterback play is kind of suspect, bouncing around quarterback to quarterback. I just think the Jets are going to get the job done with their defensive front and their running game. Chris Ivory on pace to break 1,000 yards rushing this season.
Wow.
He has 643 yards, so I look for him to break 1,000 yards this season and for the Jets to win this game.
Well, Andy, the Jets had basically the league's most shut down defense, arguably, for a lot of the season. But, basically, based on his performance against Cincinnati last week, TJ Yates could run for, mayor of Houston at this point and probably win.
And they're flying high after that. Cincinnati, no joke, as that undefeated team, everything was working well for them. But Houston went in there and they shut them down, so they're riding high off of that. Maybe TJ Yates can spark a little bit of something, maybe get some consistent play from him because, like Dave said, they've switched quarterbacks back and forth and whatnot. So it is going to be a good one. I just don't know if they've got the offense to get it done.
Yeah, I think we just got to throw out last week. I mean, no one thought the Texans were going to beat the Bengals, and I really don't think they're going to beat the Jets. I think it was a fluke.
All right. Well, as far as our online community went, 65% of you that are a part of our KUM Pigskin Pick'ems community went with the JETS, Jets. So people, New York fans, staying with New York right now. Only 35% went for the Texans, even though J.J. Watt basically lived up to his Defensive Player of the Year status.
Yeah, he always does.
Yeah, beast of a player and everything. So make sure to check that game out. That is on KUM TV 11. And then the one you want to watch, this is the big game. Cincinnati Bengals at the Arizona Cardinals. Almost said St. Louis. Is going back about 20 years. But Bengals 8-1, Cardinals 7-2. 66% picked the Cardinals, even though the Bengals, they have the better record, Dave. What's the logic there?
Well, Carson Palmer's having an MVP-type year. Anytime the passing's there, it's going to set up the run. So Chris Johnson's going to have a big game. He has 734 yards rushing already. Look for him to break the 1,000-yard mark. Larry Fitzgerald, 836 yards receiving. He's going to be another 1,000-yard receiver. And I just think Carson Palmer, man, he has his wide receivers. He has that one speedster that can just burn anybody.
John
in the
Brown.
Yeah, so he's a track guy. I think Carson Palmer, this is his year as long as he can stay healthy. And he just looks real good, man. So I'm going with the Cardinals.
All right, Andy, what would you pick in this game? Because you said, the Bengals, Andy Dalton playing out of his mind. He's maybe a little bit of a dark horse MVP candidate.
Right.
But Carson Palmer, too. I mean, these are two guys going
Carson Palmer, I mean, he's going for like, comeback player of the year, coming off the knee problem last year. And so this year, they stumbled a couple times, had those 2 losses, but I think overall the team is playing really well. And I really love what their secondary is doing with the Honey Badger back there. The way that guy gets all over the field, I mean, he can come over and just help over the top, or he can rush. You see him blitz, get sacks. I think the way that defense is playing with a lot of energy, look for them to really give Andy Dalton fits.
Yeah, Tyrann Mathieu plays all 4 positions, typically in the same game in the secondary. He's
It's crazy.
all over the
I
place.
love watching that kid play.
All right, Chris, let's go to you for some analysis right now, because you are the undisputed master of the completely useless trivia, which I greatly appreciate, and I aspire to be like you.
Yeah.
This is a rare game where we say we'd have Andy Dalton, redheaded quarterback, going up against Carson Palmer, redheaded quarterback.
Battle of the Gingers.
Yeah, how do you determine who wins in that one?
I'm not.
How many
ready-
times does that happen in NFL history?
I don't know. We got to research that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should put that in your Google. Bengals. I'm going with the Bengals. I'm not ready to give up on them yet. I mean, the Cardinals. You're right. They're playing pretty amazing, and I think the Bengals are good for another win because usually the second half of the season they kind of sputter out, and I don't think they're going to start that yet. So I'm going with the Bengals.
All right, guys. Well, make sure to keep sending in your picks, lock in your picks, and then compete against Andy, Chris, Dave, myself. But I'm all the way at the bottom, so basically it's just like see if you can beat Mr. Wheeler right here.
I'm 5th place.
Yeah,
97th. What?
the 2 gold standards of the KUAM Pick'ems community right here. Make sure to get that. And in the meantime, guys, we got some bread pudding to get to because that thing is melting. So we better get on that. We'll see you next week in week 12.
On the Gridiron, presented to you by Lone Star Steakhouse and Bud Light, the official beer of the NFL.